land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring.
The Memorial Foundation welcomes you to the 11th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Wreath laying ceremony, Deliver for Voting Rights, and Replenishing the Spirit. Please welcome your co-hosts, two award-winning Washington, D.C. media personalities who lend their talents and voices to radio and television, Mark Clark and Poet Taylor.
And good morning and welcome to the 11th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Wreath laying ceremony. I'm Mark Clark. What a blessing to be here. And now let me just say this, Poet. I'm going to be reading so I get everything right. I love to ad-lib, but something like this is so important. I don't want to mess it up, Poet. So I know why you probably have a teleprompter and fancy. I am not. I have a script and I'm reading. So again, welcome. This inclement weather tried to stop us, but ain't nothing going to stop us today, right, Poet? We're going to have a great day today. We're going to celebrate. And again, we are joining you from Washington, D.C., where the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial is located on the Tidal Basin. We ask that you share this link with your family and friends and be sure to hop in the chat, leave your comments. This is a celebration. This is a good time. We're going to have a great time as we honor this amazing man. And again, share your thoughts and tributes to Dr. King and Memorial Foundation.
Yay, Mark, we're so happy to be in your presence. Fun fact, I was Mark's intern when I first got into radio, so I'm super psyched to be in this space with you. Good morning, Village. Happy Monday. I am your girl, Poet Taylor. Today, yes, we honor the legacy of Dr. King and his fight for freedom, equality, and justice. Now more than ever, it's important to notice his work and tireless advocacy for racial equality. It's funny that we sit on this day, he would have been 93 this year, and we are legit fighting for the same things that he marched for. So if that's not a testament of how far we've come, but how much we still have to do, here it is. So let's start today's program with a man who ministers to the spiritual, educational, political, social, economic, and health of our community. He is the senior pastor of the Ebenezer AME Church and is given the invocation at the memorial services for Rosa Parks and Congressman John Lewis. He was our guest speaker at last year's ceremony and gave us not only a rousing message, but a history lesson on a reimagined America. Please welcome Reverend Dr. Granger Browning Jr.
Let us bow our heads in a word of prayer. Eternal God, our Father, I come today before you in the name of Jesus, but I thank you for all the different faiths, all the other different religions, all the other different ideologies who come together, and we are united today in our quest for social justice, freedom, liberation, and equality. We come today, for this is the day that you have made, and we're going to rejoice and be glad in it. We come today thanking you as we come together virtually at this monument. We thank you now for over 10 years this monument has stood in the midst of presidents, but we come to recognize and to lift up the prophet. We want to say thank you for all the men and women who have made this monument possible, and we give your name all the honor, the praise, and the glory. But more than the monument, we want to say thank you for the man. We are saddened by the fact that we did not have a chance to see his hair gray. We did not have a chance to be able to hear his prophetic leadership for 93 years. But despite what we did not have a chance to receive, we thank you that his truth still continues to march on. We not only thank you for the man, we thank you for the ministry, for a man that did justly, who loved mercy, and who walked humbly with you, his God. But not only for the ministry, we thank you for the mission, that he stood on the side of truth, he stood on the side of justice, and he stood on the side of equality. But not only just for the mission, we will also, most of all, want to thank you for the movement. And even though they tried to kill the man, we want to say thank you that the movement still continues. We want to say thank you that the movement still continues politically through Senator Reverend Dr. Raphael Warnock. It continues politically through Stacey Abrams. We want to say thank you that the movement still continues through economic advancement and development. We thank you it continues through Dr. Harry Johnson. We want to say thank you it continues through Robert Smith. We want to say thank you. It continues through Oprah Winfrey. We want to say thank you. It continues through Sheila Johnson. We want to say thank you. It continues through Kathy Hughes. And we want to say thank you that the social activism continues through our preacher today, Bishop William Barber. And so on today, let the prophet speak. May he speak until truth crushed to the earth rises again. May he speak until every valley is exalted, every hill and mountain is made low, every rough place is made plain, every crooked place is made straight, and the glory of the Lord is revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. May the prophet continues to speak until black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics are able to come together and join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro fight song. If there's one thing we decided to get right, it's the day we decided to fight. And we're going to keep our eyes on the prize and hold on. And we're going to hold on until that day. We are free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen, amen, and amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father God, for these moments. Yes. One more time for Reverend Dr. Browning Jr. You know Ebenezer AME Church be lit on Sunday. Is that how we kicking off this? Oh, we're in the right place at the right time with the right energy. Thank you again for those beautiful words of prayer. Now, Village, as a lover of music, I am excited to present our next guest. He is a composer, an arranger, a vocalist, a choir director who is often seen on the stage with the legendary gospel greats like the Clark Sisters, Dorothy Norwood, and Melvin Williams of the Williams Brothers, singing Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around.
Come on now.
Welcome to the show, Roderick Giles. Yes, I've been waiting for this one.
Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let no jailhouse turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let no jailhouse turn me around. Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. Ain't gonna let race hatred turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let race hatred turn me around. Keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land. I'm gonna keep on marching. I gotta keep on moving. I gotta keep on marching. I gotta keep on going. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, turn me around, turn me around. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. Keep on walking, keep on talking. I gotta keep on walking, keep on talking, keep on walking, keep on talking, marching up to freedom land.
Thank you so much, Roderick, for those words of determination and a song that embodied a sense of unity throughout the civil rights movement. As poet said earlier, it's 2022 and those words still apply today. This ceremony is a great reminder that we have to keep on marching. We have to keep on walking. So my goodness. So up next, along with his team at the Memorial Foundation, this team had the vision and fortitude to make this day a reality. Like Dr. King, he's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity and served as the organization's 31st national president. He has received several recognitions for his community involvement and public service and was named one of the 100 most influential Black Americans by Ebony Magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, the president and CEO of the Memorial Foundation, Mr. Harry E. Johnson, Sr.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so very much for that wonderful introduction. Good morning to everyone watching on this, the 11th year of us conducting our wreath laying ceremony, our day of reflection and reconciliation. How proud I am to stand here as the president and CEO of the Memorial Foundation, along with our chairman, Mr. Guy Vickers, our board, and the many supporters of our organization. How proud we are of everything that we have accomplished this year. Our Social Justice Fellows Program, our Youth Leadership Program, and everything else that we've done. This year, we celebrated 10 years since the opening of the memorial, which we now know as the 5th most visited memorial on the mall. But today, we pay homage and honor and reflection of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on this would have been his 93rd birthday. How proud I am to stand here as the president saying we thank all the many visitors and those of you that come out. But today we come out with a reason. We actually come out asking and demanding voting rights now. Dr. King said in 1967 in Los Angeles, California, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in the moment of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenges and controversy. This is that year, challenging controversy, where we actually demand from Congress and from others in a nonpartisan way the right to vote and stop all the voter suppression laws that are conducted around our country. I want to say welcome to our next presenter, Ms. Georgette Dixon. She is a wonderful, wonderful supporter. She is an EVP with Wells Fargo. Please welcome Ms. Georgette Dixon as we continue to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gigi Dixon, Head of External Engagement for Wells Fargo. I'm proud to be here representing Wells Fargo and my colleagues to bring you greetings for the Day of Reflection and Reconciliation ceremony, commemorating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. Wells Fargo is proud to be a partner of the Memorial Foundation. We salute its president and CEO, Harry Johnson, and others who had the vision and did the work to make this memorial a reality. The Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial is a majestic structure built to honor one of the greatest human beings to ever live. It is a constant reminder of the enormous impact that Dr. King had on this world and the difference his life's work has made for so many of us. Many of my colleagues around the country are honoring Dr. King today by participating in a day of service. Instead of taking the day off, they're doing what Dr. King did his entire life, serve others. Today, we also reflect on Dr. King as a fighter for social justice. He bravely stood up against injustice in hopes of creating a world that he dreamed about, one of peace, humanity, and equity. Dr. King's dream is for all of us, and it's up to us to make his dream a reality so that we and future generations all have an equal chance to be the best version of ourselves for our families and for our communities. It has truly been my pleasure to join the Memorial Foundation and all of you on this very special occasion. Let's move forward to honor Dr. King by working together so that we can create that beloved community he so often talked about. Thank you.
Thank you, Gigi. We appreciate those words coming from you and from Wells Fargo. You know, Dr. King said in April 1959, make a career of humanity. Commit yourselves to the noble struggle for equal rights. You will make a greater person of yourself, a greater nation of your country, and a finer world. There is no finer world than we have right now here in America. We just need to commit and make it better. It gives me great honor and privilege and pleasure to introduce the General President of Alpha Phi Alpha, Dr. Willis Lonzer. Dr. Lonzer and Alpha Phi Alpha helped design, came up with the idea of building this lasting and legacy to Dr. Martin Luther King. Please welcome Willis Lonzer, the General President of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity.
Greetings. I'm Willis Lonzer III, General President of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I'm very pleased to participate today in the virtual 11th Annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Wreath laying ceremony. The men of Alpha Phi Alpha join along with our nation in celebrating the 93rd birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. King was a member of our fraternity and would have celebrated this year his 70th year of membership as he was initiated in 1952. The men of Alpha Phi Alpha remain committed to supporting the Memorial Foundation, and we are proud sponsors of the Build the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Project. As you continue your celebration today, we stand along with you in committing to fulfilling and keeping the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Thank you.
Oh man, what a morning thus far. I want to thank everybody that's in the chat, sending love, light, energy. So excited that you are enjoying this amazing ceremony and this celebration of life and legacy. Again, shout out to Gigi Dixon of Wells Fargo, Dr. Willis Lonzer of Alpha Phi Alpha. To know that, see, this is what happens when the village comes together. We will get together, build, and now we have this amazing monument. If you haven't taken a visit, go read the inscriptions on it. The first time I visited that, the monument, Mark, I just felt like I know it get rough sometimes, but keep going because you got to pass the baton like the Reverend Doctor did. So with that said, let's continue with this amazing fellowship. Our next musical guest is a vocalist and actress, motivational speaker, and teaching artist who recently performed in a production of August Wilson's 7 Guitars. She has worked as a featured vocalist with Yolanda Adams, Stevie Wonder, and the late Michael Jackson, singing her acoustic version of It Is Well With My Soul. We present Roz White featuring Dave Cole on guitar. Enjoy.
When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. And Lord, haste the day when my face shall be sight, the clouds be rolled back as a scroll, the trumpet shall sound soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul.
Amazing, amazing.
I mean,
For those encouraging and uplifting words. You know, Poet, it's amazing. This Saturday morning, there's a big old world out there, but we were able to come together. And I think this is, this virtual event and this type of this kind of honor that's going on. It reminds us that it's a big world, but we can really work together to make a change. And in a sense, this virtual world has made it even smaller and brought us together. And so, you know, I hope that we, in 2022, we activate, empowered by the memories of Dr. King.
I love that. My word for the year is collective, because collectively we can move mountains. I can push, chisel away, but when we all chiseling, magic happens. And I think the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a great example of that. I'm an expert here, but my squad is made up of experts that can help in this space, and then we're going to make the changes that we deserve. And I think we're the change that we've been waiting for. So I am here for it, so here for this.
You know, you spoke of moving mountains. This next speaker right here, he's one of my favorites. He's one of my idols, a highly sought after speaker, the architect of the moral movement, a bishop, the Fellowship of Affirming Ministries, an author, a scholar, critical force in relaunching the Poor People's Campaign, which of course was started by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968. Bishop William J. Barber is regularly featured in media outlets and has spoken to a wide variety of audiences, including the Democratic National Convention, historic speak there, the Uni Global Union World Congress, and at the Vatican. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest speaker today, Bishop William J. Barber.
Oh, yes. Welcome.
Thank you so much. And we give honor to God today. I want to thank God for my dear friend and brother, Harry Johnson, and all of those who've had anything to do with this day, and to the memory of Dr. King and Coretta Scott King and their family that has suffered and stood and fought for so much. You know, over the last few days, I've had COVID and I'm recovering from it. And when you're in the midst of something that could kill you, you really think about a lot of things very seriously. This morning, I want to think very seriously and talk about why we must have a Poor People's, Low-Wage Workers Assembly moral march on Washington and to the polls, and a sustained movement if we are serious about honoring and commemorating Dr. King. You know, the need to know who we are and what we're called to do is a major endeavor. Properly defining oneself, one's nature, and one's calling is a critical philosophical, theological discipline that has penetrating and practical implications, particularly when you're in crisis. In crisis, you need to know who you are. You need to know what you don't have time to be bothered with and what you must be engaged in. Otherwise, your living is in vain. When you're facing seasons of challenge and confronting threats which seek to take your identity and redefine who you are, knowing who you are is critical to your sanity and your ability to sustain a fight when you're facing what the Apostle Paul Tillis called the very threat of non-being and non-existence. If we say we honor Dr. King, then we must be clear about who he was and what he was doing when he was murdered, and therefore what we must do if we're serious about continuing to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. The best way to destroy and distort the legacy and message of a prophet, and yes, Martin Luther King was a prophet, not a Black leader alone, not merely a social leader. It was a prophetic leader. And the best way to destroy their memory is to revision them as perfect and popular, as somebody that the public was glad to be around. In fact, the gospel of Jesus in Matthew 23 says, "Woe unto those who love the tombs of the prophet." They love the tombs of the prophet when they're safe and dead, but they do not love or walk with the prophets when they're alive. And in this particular historical moment, we especially need to remember the real Martin Luther King, who found himself having to take on a society with others he properly diagnosed as having a neurotic sickness and a septic commitment to racism, poverty, and militarism that was destroying not just Black people, but destroying its soul and ripping apart its moral promises and moral possibilities and literally putting the whole world at risk. And when Dr. King rendered his diagnosis, because he knew who he was, when he dared to stand up with others and be true to who he was and what he was called to do, and he committed with others, particularly the national welfare workers, poor women, to raise with others a poor people's campaign that would not take no for an answer, to raise it with those who had nothing to lose, who were the only ones that might have what he called the moral and spiritual capacity to turn the nation's conscience and character toward the way of love and truth and justice. When he said, "This is who I am, this is what I'm about, this is who I must be with," he was declared even more an enemy of the state and a threat to the powers that be. Hoover called him the greatest enemy and threat to America. When he decided that he was going to engage in the prophetic actions of the Poor People's Campaign, that dared to challenge arrogance, that challenged other Black leaders who had become comfortable with being in the back room and doing compromises on the backs and the necks of their people. When he decided that there needed to be a challenge to greed and injustice, he found out, he knew that it would not be welcomed by the oppressive actors and systems of this world, but he knew who he was. He knew who he was called to be. And so Dr. King in 1968, he linked racism, poverty, and war and dared to challenge not just the laws of the states and the country, but the country itself. Challenged the presidency itself. Yes, a Democratic president. Challenged the underpinnings of the structures of the country. He even challenged the church and challenged other organizations. Yes, it was in 1965, before we even get to 68, that when people were talking about voting rights, and Johnson told him, you need to wait a couple of years, kind of like what we heard the current administration say, you need to wait a year or not right now. Dr. King said no, went to Selma, joined the movement, and at the end of the Selma to Montgomery March, he said voting rights was not just a Black issue. He said the threat of the free exercise of the ballot by the Negro and the white masses alike resulted in the establishment of the segregated society. He said any threat of the Negro and white masses of the South to challenge the Southern aristocracy, to create a new power base that could fundamentally shift the politics of power in this country and change the economic architecture of the nation, threatened those forces. And they would do everything they could to keep that from happening. He said that because he knew who he was. And when he did it, he challenged the president. He challenged those that told him, just give it time, we'll get there. Get there. Dr. King also on one occasion said, we have deluded ourselves into believing the myth that capitalism grew and prospered out of the Protestant ethic of hard work and sacrifice. The fact is that capitalism was built on exploitation and suffering of Black slaves and poor whites, and continues to thrive on the exploitation of the poor, both Black and white, here and abroad. That's what he said in '67. People didn't like that. He said again, a nation that continues year after year to spend more money on military defense than on programs of social uplift is a nation approaching spiritual death. April 4th, 1968, 1 year exact to the day he was murdered and assassinated, he said that. He said the problems of racial injustice and economic injustice cannot be solved without a radical redistribution of political and economic power. He said that you can't deal with one issue or the other, like, for instance, voting rights over here and then economic injustice over here. In a speech to his own staff, he said, there must be a better distribution of wealth, and maybe America must move towards democratic socialism. If he had lived and pursued this project, the radical king would be known. But too often we try to put that back in the box. On April 4th, 1968, in Memphis, the last day of his life, the third, he phoned Ebenezer Church, and he told them that his sermon that Sunday was going to be why America may very well go to hell. The night that he preached his last sermon, he said the nation was sick. We must give ourselves to this movement, and nothing would be more tragic than for us to turn back now. And I want us to hear this today. If we're going to come around this commemoration, if we're going to be serious, because Dr. King never wanted us to celebrate him. He wanted us to join him. He wanted us to join the movement. But understand, when he said the things we just mentioned, it's no accident that prior to Dr. King's death, 72% of whites and 55% of Black people disapproved of his opposition to the Vietnam War and his efforts to eradicate poverty. It's no surprise that Black leadership attacked him and shunned him. It's no surprise that Dr. King retorted, what you are saying may get you a foundation grant, but it won't get you into the kingdom of truth. And in short, Martin Luther King knew who he was, refused to sell his soul for a mess of pottage. He refused to silence his voice in the quest of unarmed truth. For King, the condition of truth was to allow the suffering to speak. In Martin Luther King's eyes, even too many Black leaders looked to the political structure to tell them what to do, or they sacrificed the truth for access to the back room. They reduced the call of sacrificial love and service to selfish expediency and personal gain. That's what he said. He said they too often were sycophants and cheerleaders and bootlickers for big money interests, even as the boots were crushing the poor and working people. This is the Dr. King who knew who he was. And he said, I would rather be dead than afraid. I'd rather be dead than merely going in the back room while the people are suffering. This is the Martin Luther King we must know. This is why we cannot have mere platitudes about him and throw celebration platitudes at him. This is what we must know. And if we know him and who he stood with and who he stood with and what he stood for, then his same diagnosis would let us know why, if we're serious about Dr. King, we must have a mass poor people's low-wage workers assembly, moral march on Washington, and to the polls, a campaign, a continuous campaign. Because we face a crisis of possibility. We face a crisis of civilization. And it was long before COVID. Pope Francis recently said that today we see that the world has never been so rich despite such abundance. He said that what we have is the magical formulas of trickle-down economics and neoliberalism that are literally killing people, and it is scandalous. COVID-19 may have put a spotlight, but even before COVID-19, Reverend Dr. Liz Theo Harris, myself, the Poor People's Campaign, we 43 coordinating committees, over 200 partners, up to 1,200 other clergy, knew that in 2018, There were 140 million poor and low wealth people in this country, 43% of this nation living in poverty and low wealth. 250,000 people were dying every year, 700 a day, from poverty and low wealth before COVID. Dr. King called this a crime for a rich nation for people to receive starvation wages. He said poverty is not God ordained, it is man-made. It is a result of policies. And today it is a result of policies of systemic racism, systemic poverty, ecological devastation, the denial of health care, the war economy, and the false moral narrative of religious nationalism. Oh, where are we today? Even before COVID, Danielle down in Mississippi has to work over 70 hours a week just to survive on $7.25. I met a Black man before COVID who cleaned people's backsides in a medical facility he can't even afford to go in. Met a lady in West Virginia, so poor, and she needs $15 and a union. She said that poor white women in Appalachia on Tuesdays have Taco Tuesdays so they can make enough money to have a savings to help women with their menstrual cycles. I met an Episcopal priest in Aberdeen, West Washington, a place of only 16,000 human beings, but over 10% of them are poor and homeless, the largest number of homeless white millennials in the country. In Kentucky, many of those people that were recently killed by those tornadoes were killed because the bosses would not let them go home. They were not people who had union rights and were paid living wages. In Harlan County, Kentucky, one of the 30th poorest counties in America, we were recently there and somebody said nobody ever comes to see about us. In Selma, I met Callie Greer, who told us how her daughter died in her face because Alabama refused to expand health care. This is before COVID. And met Pamela, who died from COVID, but she was forced by predatory lenders and tricked into buying a trailer that only was worth $30,000, but was gonna make her pay over $150,000. And she was only 5 minutes from the road that Dr. King walked down from Selma to Montgomery, only 5 minutes from that road. And 5 minutes from that road, the state took the pipes for water to the dog pound, but would not connect it to the people's houses. Before COVID ever happened, 43% of our people were poor and low wealth in this country, 52% of our children, 33% of white people, that's 66 million white people, 60% of Black people, that's 26 million Black people, 68% of Latinos before COVID. And before COVID, we watched this country give $2 trillion worth of tax cuts to the wealthy, while 400 people made an average of $97,000 an hour. And 3 people had more money than the bottom 50% of all Americans. Yes, even before COVID, Dr. King had said, and it was still saying to us from beyond the grave, we must have a mass poor people's low-wage workers assembly, moral march on Washington to the polls and beyond. Poor people now make up 30% of the electorate, 45% of the electorate in battleground states, and yet most of our political campaigns, even most of our commemorations of Dr. King say nothing about the poor and low wealth. Right now in America, we have over 87 million people before COVID, either without health care or underinsured in the wealthiest nation in the world. We're the only of the 20 top nations, wealthiest nation in the country that does not offer some form of health care universal to all of these people. We're the only one in America. We claim to be the greatest, but we're the only one. And sometimes leaders would even rather sit in back rooms with certain politicians than to say our people are dying. And it doesn't have to be this. There is no scarcity of resources. Every politician that gets elected to Congress, they get free health care. How is it that you can accept free health care, but then you don't want the very people that elected you to have what you get? Indigenous people on reservations are still facing cruel, cruel wartime treaties. And here we are, 1965 it was, the march from Selma to Montgomery, Episcopalians, Anglican, Catholics, Baptists, Methodists, Muslims, white and Black. Please don't say Selma was a Black march, it wasn't. They marched, they were beaten, and yet today we have less voting rights than we had in August 6, 1965, when the movement forced the president, who didn't want a Democratic president, forced him and forced the Congress to sign the Voting Rights Act. And here we are in a country where immigration is weaponized and deportation is weaponized. And here we are in a country where ever since June 25th, 2013, well, long before the Trump lie, the Supreme Court gutted Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act 2 years before Obama left office. 8 years it's been, and we act as though the fight for voting rights is just something recent. 4 million families can buy unleaded gas and can't buy unleaded water in America right now. And we have a war economy where 53% of every discretionary dollar in this country today is going to war, and only 15% to education and healthcare. We have a crisis of possibility, a crisis of morality, a crisis of democracy. The great economist Joseph Stiglitz says it like this: the question is not how much would it cost to fix it, but how much does it cost us not to fix it? And then on top of this, we've got a distorted moral narrative of religious nationalism that doesn't follow the call of Jesus, that doesn't ask the nation, when I was hungry, did you feed me? When I was naked, did you clothe me? When I was a stranger, did you welcome me? Instead, it asks, are you against a woman's right to choose? Are you against gay people? Are you for prayer in the school? Are you for Republicans? Are you following Jesus, Trump as your Messiah? And in the midst of this time, Dr. King would be telling us we need to do what he died trying to do. We need to have a generationally transformative campaign, not just for a day or an event, but a mass poor people's low-wage workers assembly march on Washington and to the polls and beyond, and beyond. And all the things I just mentioned, that's before the pandemic. Then the pandemic hits, and the pandemic exposes and shows the fissures that have been created by racism and by poverty. The fissures, many of the workers that saved this country, have saved it during this pandemic, were poor and vulnerable workers, restaurant workers making less than $2.15 an hour, low-wage workers who were not paid enough to build up a savings, who lack paid sick leave and medical leave. We call them essential, but treat them as though they're expendable. Right now, they were the ones that saved us. They're the first to go to work, the first to get infected, the first to get sick, and the first to die. The first to see what was done during the first 20 minutes of the pandemic cut off. And during the pandemic so far, billionaires have made $2 trillion, made $2 trillion, while poor and low wealth, 8 million more people fell into poverty and low wealth. Did you know we still don't know the public impact on COVID on poor and low wealth people? Did you know that lower income households are more vulnerable to the economic impacts, and that when they got that child tax credit, 90% of that money went to meet basic needs like food and housing, and it has ended as of January? Did you know that nearly all of the pandemic era programs that benefited the poor and low wealth have expired? Did you know that the nation's wealthiest people have made money during this pandemic? Did you know that big businesses and large employers have been able to use their outside wealth to influence a pushback against living wages, against Build Back Better? Did you know it's the Chamber of Commerce that's funding Manchin and Sinema and others that are against voting rights expansion and against Build Back Better? Do you know some of those same members of Chamber of Commerce fund our civil rights movements to try to keep them quiet? Did you know? Do you know that was happening when Dr. King was alive? It's still happening now. Did you know that lawmakers are still accommodating corporate needs? Did you know that we've given corporations over $4 trillion since COVID started in less than 2 years, and claim we can't spend $1.9 trillion over 10 years for poor and low wealth people, and yet we're going to spend $7 trillion on the military? Did you know that economists are saying that they're lying when they say that the movement used to help the poor is causing inflation? Did you know that if without the pandemic relief programs, that with the ones that are cutting off now, that the poverty numbers would have swelled to 150 million? And did you know that poor and low wealth people accommodate account for 40% of the nation's population, almost, particularly in battleground states. And did you know there's a rolling coup that's happened ever since January 6th of last year? And it's not a violent coup, it's a political coup. 19 states have passed more than 30 voter suppression laws. 400 bills are out there. And if these laws, when these laws go into effect, did you know that it could block 55 million Americans from using processes to vote they used in 2020? Did you know that we have gutted the bill John Lewis wrote with his last dying breath and allowed it to be substituted with the Freedom to Vote Act? Did you know that the Freedom to Vote Act, while a good bill, has also put into that bill the codification of voter ID? Did you know that none of these bills have grandfather effect? And so that means that everything that was passed in this year, even if we were to pass some things Tuesday, they would still be in effect. We got to tell the whole truth. Did you know that the Freedom to Vote Act applies to federal elections and not state and local elections? Did you know too many of our pulpits are talking about bling, bling? We've gone from bling, bling rather than let freedom ring. That too many preachers and pulpits are quiet in the face of all of this. That's why we need a mass poor people's low wage workers assembly and moral march on Washington to the poll for a moral reset, a generationally transformative reset in this country that says something's wrong, we're morally sick, that what we're seeing now is constitutionally inconsistent, morally indefensible, politically insensitive, economically insane. Insane. And so Dr. King said, then we have to have a coming together, and poor and low wealth people have to be in the front. And so we're trying together with 45 state coordinating committees. We've committed to an all out organizing in this moment with poor people, partners, religious allies coming together. We're committed to the mobilization of the largest mass assembly of poor and low wealth people in this nation's history. And we're committed to do it because our deadline is victory, until the children are educated, until the sick are insured and healed, until the workers are paid, until we no longer promote and promulgate war. We have to have a third Reconstruction in this country. We need a moral movement in this country that refuses to accept the lies of scarcity. We have to come together and we have to build a power base that can shift the narrative and can go to the poll. Poor and low wealth people are the sleeping giant in this country. They can change all of the predictions about elections, but we've got to have a committed, nonviolent, truth-telling, multiracial, interfaith moral movement that's going to shift the moral narrative, build and mobilize political power, and make real policies. Not just curse the darkness, but lay out an agenda is what we'll be doing. We have to address these interlocking injustices simultaneously: systemic racism, systemic poverty, ecological devastation, denial of health care, the war economy, the distorted moral narrative, religious nationalism together. And we have to be committed, as what's written on that statue, on that hew out of the mountain of despair. To hew means to keep cutting. A mountain of despair is in front of you. Dr. King said, you don't run. You don't bow down to the mountain. You keep cutting. You keep sculpting. You keep cutting. You keep sculpting. And you have to have a movement that doesn't start when the politicians say start and stop when the politicians say stop, no matter what president it is. We have to say that even the bills that may or may not be passed tomorrow, they won't solve all the problems. We got a lot of work that has to be done. To hew out of the mountain of despair means you don't go around. Real prophetic hope doesn't go around despair. It goes through it. It goes through it. It recognizes that inside the despair, God makes a way out. It means that you have to transform the despair into a stone of hope. You got to keep on carving, keep on marching, keep on preaching, keep on fighting. You got to keep on engaging in nonviolent direct action. Like the folk around Jericho, you got to keep marching around the walls. You got to keep litigating, keep voting, keep standing, keep carving. Have you ever noticed that Dr. King never had events? He had campaigns. He never had an event. He had campaigns. One of his favorite scriptures, Hebrews chapter 10, verse 39 and following. We are not of those who shrink back unto destruction, but we are those who persevere to the salvation of the soul. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. The last night he was with us, he said these words: this country is a sick nation. We got to give ourselves to this movement. And nothing would be more tragic than for us to turn back now. If we're going to seriously hang around the tomb, let's not love the tomb of the prophet. Let's resurrect the mission, go to work, refuse to turn back, and hew out of this current mountain of despair a stone of hope. God bless you, and I'll see you on the front lines.
Let us thank Bishop Barber. What a wonderful and great prophetic message that we have heard this morning as we celebrate the 11th annual Martin Luther King Wreath Laying and Day of Reconciliation here at the Martin Luther King Memorial. Thank you, Bishop Barber. Replenishing the Spirit is coming up next. It's a musical for the times and for the times of right now that we're in, and for our soul. We're going to have our virtual march and lay the wreath. Again, we thank Bishop William Barber, and I like what someone said earlier. Don't just praise Dr. King. Let's continue his work. Bishop Barber, I'm reminded that we shall overcome because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And thank you so much for helping us reach that justice mark and for your Poor People's Campaign that we all should join and be a part of. Let us now have a moment of silence and let us do our wreath laying ceremony. Stay tuned, don't go away, because we have a great musical piece, Replenishing the Spirit, that you shall see in our next section for this morning. Thank you.
On behalf of the Memorial Foundation, we welcome you to this year's wreath laying ceremony and also our day of reflection and reconciliation. Due to COVID concerns, and of course, as you see the weather, we decided to go virtual. However, we want you to enjoy a great program today as we honor the life and memory of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. In honor of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. on this, the 11th day of the celebration that we celebrate at the Memorial Foundation, and on his birthday, we honor his legacy and his memory.
Amazing.
Wow. What a powerful message. Now, Mark, I know you said what Bishop Barber was and how you looked up to him. I got chills listening to that. So first of all, Bishop, I want to say sending you all the love and light, praying for your health and wellness. Also want to shout out Henrietta in the comments who spoke to me. Courageous and loving spirit. It takes a lot to tell the truth the way that it is, how it is in a society that doesn't want to hear it. And I want to remind people that this is an election year. Your midterm elections are in November. There are people sitting in spaces and places right now who've been there for years, ain't doing nothing, have no plans of doing nothing because it's going to stop their bottom line. I'm here for people that want to see people over profits and not profits over people. So, Bishop, that was everything.
And Poet, I don't want to hop. I just want to hop in quick. And like you said, with Hit Me, Poet, I think two things. When he said Dr. King didn't have events, he had campaigns, and also the sleeping giant. He said the poor people are a sleeping giant, and there's a reason why certain powers that be don't want poor people to come together, because that's power. Like you said, that's moving out those people who aren't, those elected officials who aren't making moves, getting them out of the way for people who are going to make moves. But anyway, I just wanted to say what an amazing message. And then the other thing, we all have to ask ourselves, what are we doing? I think that's another thing. What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we doing anything to help? If we're not, then maybe this is this moment today is the day we decide to do something.
Well, you know, day is always a day on, not a day off.
Yes.
When I'm on air, I tell people this is not a 3-day party weekend. There are things that we're really fighting. I would want my great-grandchildren, my great-great-grandchildren to never fight and have to march for the things that I am fighting and marching for now. So to your point, what part of the change do you want to be is the question that we should all be asking ourselves. And whether you want to pour into the Poor People's Campaign, whether you want to volunteer, whether you're going to teach, it's time for all of us to put our momentum where our mouths are and not just sit back and expect people who have never changed things and haven't given you anything to change things and give you things. So I am here for all this change again. Oh man, Bishop Barber, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am fired up.
Yes, yes, yes.
Let me bring my Black Girl Magic down. I'm ready to go out. I was like, oh, you got a whole nother hour here. You just can't shut the laptop and go to the streets. Oh, thank you for that. It's not just a civil rights song, but a song that began as a folk song, a work song that slaves would sing in the fields, knowing that I'll be all right someday. It became known in churches and has been a rally call in North Korea, Beirut, Tiananmen Square, and South Africa's Soweto Township. You know where I'm going with this, Mark?
Yes, our next guest, he's a Morehouse man like Dr. King, is of course a member of the Morehouse College Glee Club, one of jazz and gospel music's most quintessential singers, singing We Shall Overcome. Welcome, Robert E. Person.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Someday, oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace. We shall live in peace someday. Someday, oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall all be free. We shall all be free. We shall all be free someday. my heart. I do believe we shall all be free someday. We shall live in peace someday. We shall overcome someday.
Amazing. Robert E. Person. I see his Morehouse crew online is representing.
Yes.
Shouting him out. And, you know, amazing. And again, I'm just poet. I'm just so excited to be part of this. You know, as you mentioned before, you were an intern years ago, but it just speaks to the connectivity of all of us. We all connected. I'm sure, you know, as a Morehouse man, Robert knows somebody on here. Somebody was in school with him. Big Mama knew somebody in his church. It's like, and that's the thing, you know, the message the great message we heard from Bishop Barber talking about, he stressed morality and nonviolence. And I think that morality piece, poet, is so big because it talks about, as human beings, we need to take care of each other. We need to take care of each other. And, you know, those who don't have, if we have a little, if I got a little piece, I can share that piece with somebody else. And again, I think Dr. King was so, you know, I mean, that was his message his whole life, and he sacrificed his life with that message. And so I think today is just another reminder, like you say, it's not a day off. It's a day where maybe we even if you just start thinking about, well, how can I make my community better? How can I make people around me better? And not just an event, a campaign, you know, that I make the pledge to help for the rest of my life. I think that's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about.
You know, I touch and agree with you on that, Mark. What a moving and inspiring hour. I'm still feeling Bishop Barber's words. And it's, again, a reminder of all we've accomplished. But as he started fact checking how much money came out over the past 2 years and how people have been struggling and programs are closing and we can't upkeep communities, but we've found trillions that when you ask most people, I think what you only got like 2,400 to survive 2 years. The thought of free healthcare for Congress, but we're going to fight tooth and nail against universal healthcare. There're just a lot of things. And to your point, we truly are the change that we deserve and wish to see. And I'm hoping from Bishop Barber's words and this program that people understand that it's not about quantity, it's about quality. Right now, you and your tribe can start a campaign to do hygiene products for young women that may not have them. You can collect blankets and old comforters right now and go help those without addresses. I think sometimes it's about what part of the work are you willing to do yourself. My father was big on that. He would always tell me, don't worry about how it's being done. Do your part. You're going to plant a seed that's going to make somebody want to do their part. And that's how we grow and take over the world. And I am here for it.
Well, I just want to shout out Greta Martin, who's doing just what you said. She said on her comments, sending water to the impacted in Michigan and finding out how to support those ladies that Bishop Barber mentioned. Shout out to you, Greta. I see you.
Oh, that's so kind. If you go to the poorpeoplescampaign.org, they have a list of ways that you can get involved. Here locally, I'd say that markthisTable.org is another space that they have McKenna's Wagon that goes out 365 days a year to feed folks who may not have it. They're always looking for people to make meals and help them deliver. So the opportunities are there. Are you willing to not binge watch your favorite show? Can you give up the time that you spend watching Insecure to go pour an hour into your community? We are our brother and our sister's keeper. I also want to shout out Harry Johnson and the Memorial Foundation just for putting this into thought. Just the thought behind who's speaking and who's performing and all those great things, because it's not us, then who? So with that, Village, we've seen and heard from some of the most dynamic speakers, leaders, and supporters of Dr. King's dream and vision. He committed and gave his life so America could fully become alive. In his book, Why We can't wait. He said, sing the freedom songs today for the same reason the slaves sang them, because we are too in bondage, and the songs add hope to our determination that we shall overcome. It's no surprise that King has inspired music from various musicians. One of my favorites, Mahalia Jackson, Harry Belafonte, were early and consistent civil rights supporters. Queen, Paul Simon, even Elvis has written or performed songs about King. And Stevie Wonder used his music to champion the very holiday we're celebrating today. Fun fact, if you're on social, Poet Taylor on Facebook, at Just Curious Paul on Instagram, Daryl Brooks sent me rare footage of the first concert here, like right here, where they were championing for the holiday that we're celebrating today. It was magical to watch last night, because I was just like, I wasn't there, but I felt like I was there, even more so inspired.
Shout out to Daryl. That's awesome. So, today music continues to inspire and offer reverence, respect, and appreciation for a man who stood up for equality. In partnership with Mars Arts DC, Washington Performing Arts Signature Community Engagement Project, the Memorial Foundation presents Replenishing the Spirit, an inspiring and mobilizing group of performers we know you're going to enjoy. You heard her earlier, and she's back. Lend her voice in celebration of today, and she shares songs that created a soundscape for change and defined a generation. Please welcome Roz White.
Thank you so much for having me for this wonderful occasion. I'm very, very, very honored to be here. I just want to share a message of love and of hope with you. Please receive it. I truly believe someday we'll all be free.
Hang on to the world as it spins around. Just don't let the spin get you down. Things are moving fast. Hold on tight and you will last. Keep your self-respect, your manly pride. Get yourself in gear, keep your stride. Never mind your fears. Brighter days will soon be here. Take it from me, someday we'll all be free. And oh, keep on walking tall. Hold your head up high. Lay your dreams right up to the sky. Sing your greatest song. And you keep going, you keep growing. Oh, take it from me, someday we'll all be free. Yeah. gotta believe it. Take it from me, someday we'll all be free. And it won't be long. Take it from me, someday we'll all be free. Take it from me someday. Yeah.
Thank you so much. These messages of hope and of love and of peace and unity are so important in these times that we're having, and I want to wish you the best of everything in life. Here's to life. No complaints and no regrets. I still believe in chasing dreams and placing bets. For I have learned that all you give is all you get. So give it all you got. I've had my share, I drank my fill. And even though I'm satisfied, I'm hungry still to see what's down another road beyond the hill and do it all again. So here's to life. And every joy it brings. Yes, here's to life. To dreamers and their dreams. Funny how the time just flies, how love can go from warm hellos to sad goodbyes and leave you with the memories you've memorized to keep your winters warm. For there's no yes in yesterday, and who knows what tomorrow brings or takes away. As long as I'm still in the game I wanna play, for laughs, for life, for love. And here's to life. And every joy it brings. Yes, here's to life. To dreamers and their dreams. May all your storms be weathered, and all that's good get better. Here's to life. Here's to love. Here's to you.
and all that's good get better. Here's to life. Here's to love. Here's to you.
Good morning. I'm Mary Elizabeth Taylor, Vice President of External Affairs and Community here at Robin Hood. And I want to extend the warmest thanks to Mr. Johnson and everyone at the Memorial Foundation who every day uphold Dr. King's legacy and inspire people toward a life based on the principles of democracy, justice, hope, and love. At Robin Hood, our mission is to democratize finance for all. And so that means that we believe every single person, regardless of background, should have the same opportunities in the financial markets. And so we work to break down those barriers every day so everyone can have both access and education to achieve their goals. And so our mission inspires us to work with organizations and populations who historically have been overlooked by the traditional financial industry. And so that's why I'm thrilled to announce that Robin Hood is partnering with the Memorial Foundation to support their Global Youth Leadership Conference. At these conferences, students examine leadership principles advocated by Dr. King and his contemporaries through a curriculum designed to enhance the students' leadership skills to make meaningful change within themselves and also within their communities. A central aspect of bringing about this change is the importance of financial empowerment. And so we are just thrilled to extend our commitment to our mission alongside the Memorial Foundation. Thank you again for honoring Dr. King's life and legacy today and every day.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, Poet, I keep over talking you because I get so excited. So
you're fine. The teamwork makes the dream work here. First of all, Roz, like, I don't know who told you to be singing.
Come on now.
Thank you. My mom texted me and was like, I got a birthday coming up, ma'am. I don't think I have the pull just yet to get Ross White to sing you happy birthday, but I'm going to try. This morning has been magical. I am so inspired. And just, when you are fighting the good fight, it's so easy for all of us to get just worn out. You feel like the piece that you're doing isn't enough. And I think this morning what we're recognizing is we're not working on this change alone. And I think that helps to see the bishop, to hear these songs, to be reminded that we were only passed the baton from our ancestors and we're their wildest dreams. So in this moment, I'm in awe that I'm even a part of this moment. To go from an intern to make it through foster care. If you would have told me that I would have been sitting with the award-winning Mark Clark hosting such a phenomenal program, I would have been like, who, child, me? So even that speaks that we're all walking testimonies and we got this. We just have to be willing to do the work and that it won't be easy. Bishop told us you're going to have to be courageous. People ain't going to want to hear it. But again, I'm going to always go back to if not us, then who?
And like you said, I just think about Dr. King and the commitment. I mean, Roz killed that, but that here's to life. We talk about life. It would have been easy. Dr. King was a middle-class African-American family. It would have been easy for him to just focus on his family, like many of us do. I'm guilty, and not give his life. But he made a decision that he was going to change the world. He made a decision that we're not going on vacation. I'm going to do something to hopefully tear down this crazy system. And so I think today is a great reminder of the power when you make a decision, how much change you can make, but also it speaks to what are you willing to risk? What are you
willing to sacrifice? Yeah. When you talk about I'm not going on vacation, me and my family are going to do this campaign because we want to bring this, that, and the third. What are you willing to sacrifice for what you believe to be the injustices that you're still facing? And as I sit and I'm taking in this program, I'm writing notes to myself about what can I do, not just this year, but every year to make this place better, to remove some people from some spaces and elevate folks that see and understand the final goal, which is really elevation and success for all of us. And I don't see why no one would want that. Why wouldn't you want people to be elevated? Why wouldn't you want equality across the board? So, you either with me or against me at this point. Bishop got me fired up. Y'all not really.
And we're in a crisis right now. Right now is a critical time. Right now is the time. It's definitely, it's go time right now.
It's been time. I mean, COVID, unveiled some things. And either you're going to look at them and say, okay, in the year that MLK would have been 93, are we legit pressuring our Congress, our people that represent us, to do right by us? And if they're not, it's similar to like dating. If you with somebody and they're not giving you all the bells and whistles, what they still around for? It's time to snip, and really build from we rebuilding here, and I am here for it. So
we're not even talking about voting. Anyway, let's go. Let's go, poet. You know how we are. Now, as a former inner city educator, our next guest learned the talent of how to raise efficacy and inspire educational excellence in communities where both the belief to achieve and the desire to achieve have suffered greatly. And he has opened up for Brandy. He's performed at South by Southwest. Yes. He is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Yusha Assad.
What up, world? Happy MLK Day.
Weight of the world on your shoulder.
What's up, y'all?
Body feeling different, getting older.
I go by the name of Yusha Assad. It's my DJ P. Let's get it.
You ain't picked the weather or the forecast. But you be shining no matter the forecast. Still have no chill while the sun is blazing. That must mean that you're amazing.
I come from the bottom, but I say bump the top. I'ma raise up the bottom till it becomes the top. I'ma elevate people, I'ma do it with truth. Even the people at the top know that we got the juice. I know we ain't perfect, but we do perfect. Even hip-hop is perfect to birth a nation with. Perfectly birthed from a generation that raised a fist. I am the rose from the concrete that the 80s ditched. I seen the bodies from civil rights that hatred hit. Still sitting in school systems that can't be fixed. I was placed in the school system to raise the kids. Realized it was a box and had to raise the lid. They say, Yusha, why you rap if you wanna teach? If you wanna inspire people, won't you go and preach? Sheesh. Said I do, but by my own rules. Just play my CD in your house and call it home school. Let's get it.
Could it be you calling me down?
We here celebrating the legacy of my brother, the brother Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And when we celebrate his legacy, we get the opportunity to think about our own, you know what I mean?
You don't need nobody.
I'd like to welcome y'all into our space, into our vibe today, and tell you who I am. Black man, black hand, black fist for the people. Black man, black hand, black fist for the people, yeah. Black queen, new ring, I see you. Good things, I see you. Let's get it. Black man, black hand, black fish for the people, hey. Black man, black hand, black fish for the people, people. Tell y'all who I am. Black man, black hand, black fish for the people, 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 yeah. Hey. My heart, my soul, give it all to the people, 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 yeah. Mama always said give with your heart and soul. Give all that you can, you got a heart of gold. Got it, true intentions when he made you. to help everyone you can with what he gave you. Yeah, he gave me peace. Black man for the black people, spits to the sky like 1968. Stand up for my black people, shout out to the black role models who educate. Hearts out to the right people, all need love and navigate this life. Shouts out to the black women that walk independent but still hold places white. This right here is good food, just might be some food for thought. Tired of burying black men, tired of letting go crooked cops, tired of sitting back watching news. Hard to watch when you all the news, hard to turn the other cheek today when your heart and soul become scarred and bros. So where all of our leaders at? Yeah, hey, can't be a credible witness when the court just don't believe you're black. Money won't achieve you, that's stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Hey, black man, black hand, black fist for the people, people. We gonna get a little extra for y'all today. Hey, my heart, my soul, give it all to the people, 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 yeah. Yeah, who else would I be if it weren't for the people, 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 yeah. Listen, and that's true. I say, who else would I do this for but you? And who else is this music for? Not you. Sing it right for y'all because you're royalty to put crowns back in your life. I put real life on these melodies that make soundtracks of your fight. Come on, it's not right how they treat us. Can't win so they beat us. But still gotta answer to the most high when your flesh dies and you meet dust. Trying to steal where we came from. Stole freedom when you ain't guns. What goes around is what comes around. We get freedom back with that same one. Won't bow down to no man. When I stand up, when I pray, no hands back in your cups. When your hands punch in my face. I'm a peaceful man, not a piece of man. You ain't 3/5 in my hole. Confident in my own brand, no tags up on my clothes. So, hey, so where all of our leaders at? Hey, check. They turned our people into sheep. Let's go and get on. We can lead them back. Everybody, fist up if you believe in that. Let's go. Hey, hey. I know y'all at home watching. Fist up. Black man, black hand, black fist for the people, people. Hey. Who am I? Who was Dr. King? My heart, my soul, give it all to the people, 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 yeah. Yeah. Who else would I be if it weren't for the people, 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 yeah. Man, how you feel, DJ?
Feeling great, man.
What we doing?
Working and winning.
Listen, y'all, once again, I go by the name of Yusha Sai, hip-hop artist, motivational speaker, entrepreneur. I lead a business and a movement entitled With Great Care. Where we simply tell people, don't just strive to do great things. No, do everything you do with great care, purpose, and intention. And when we do that, right, I believe that we can really win collectively, independently, as long as we're willing to wake up every morning and put on our running shoes. Let's get it.
Hey, I just got this
Feeling that
we could be
better than
we ever knew.
That's why I put on my
shoes.
Why?
We could be better.
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 I just got this feeling that
we could be
better than we ever knew. That's why I put on my, running shoes. Came from nothing. Had a dream. Started by myself. Built a team. I always kept the focus. Let's get the cream. Help to elevate the people. Hey, with self-esteem. Hey, I always knew that we was worthy. I always saw a higher purpose. They tried to separate the colors, but couldn't see beneath the surface. Homie, we better than that. Everything we do it better. Especially when we do it all together. Even when it come to getting cheddar. Can't tell me no dream.
Can't tell me no dream.
Can't tell me no lie.
Can't tell me no lie.
Say the sky the limit.
Say the sky the limit.
Then went through the sky. You can't make the eagles fly. You can't make the fishes swim. You can't take the people's crown. Can barely get above the rim. My people do that dance. Come on. Hey, I just got this feeling that we could be better than we ever knew. That's why I put on my running shoes. Why?
We could be better.
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 I just got this feeling that we could be better than we ever knew. That's why I put on my shoes. Hey, can't be down by how they treat us. Must admit they know they need us. People trying to lead us. Get out of line, they try to beat us. But you can't hold my people down. Get the truth, you can't defeat us. That's why I'm thankful to Lamar for giving all my people. Forget the BS that they feed us. Filled with parasites and leeches. Politicians and the preachers. Get the truth is freedom. Malcolm wrote it in his speeches. Let's go. Hey, hey, I just got this feeling we could do better than we ever knew. That's why I put on my running shoes, yeah. Pain in our eyes, doing what we have to do to survive. Scratching just to keep our future alive. But we can do better, people, we can thrive. We can thrive. We can thrive, yeah, 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 yeah. Feeling that we could be better than we ever knew. That's why I put on my running shoes. Put on my, we can be better. So we can be better. Yeah, we can be better. Hey, we can be better. I just got this feeling that we could be better than we ever knew. Let's get it. Hey, hey, I just got this feeling that we could be better than we ever knew. That's why I put on my hey, why we could be better. 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 I just got this feeling that we could be better than we ever knew. That's why I put on my running shoes. Yeah. Let's get it. Like Mr. King, Brother King. We've all had dreams. Things we desire to accomplish. Let me tell you a story. Little black boy from the hood, and where I'm from, they say that we no good. Just cause I'm black, everything I do is misunderstood. Little engine that could. If I could lift the hood and fix stuff, people wanna be rich, people. It's game time, I ain't finna sit on this bench, people. It's 4th and goal and we only need us an inch, people. But defense is really lynching, they pinch people. Grandma used to say just work and get your pension, people. But I saw grandma fall, she got tired, then retired without enough to stay retired at all. Ironically, her slavery still inspired us all, just to be something different. We had to change up. Pit bulls, not sheep, they couldn't tame us or chain us to that big tree in the backyard that was tore up. And even when they did, we broke loose, chased tour bus. Officially had a combination, 4 of us. I spoke the truth, not the wordsmith they Maury was. DJ made the beats, and Coda told the jokes. Orangutan Production Studios gave us hope. No one believed in us. I know it now, no one ever spoke seed in us. They gave us doubts. Late nights in the studios, had to get this out. Mama didn't understand, she chose to kick me out.
Forward.
Just press.
Even when you can't see the light, just press forward.
Just press. Just press.
Knowing everything's alright, just press forward.
Just press. Press.
Even when you can't see the way, just press forward.
See, when we talking
Just
about
press.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.,
You gon' make it there someday.
we're talking about a man who had an urge to release the passion, the fire, the desires to live a full human experience. To not just be cultivated to be trapped or marginalized by what other people thought about him, but an opportunity to fully self-actualize. And he wanted that for you and I. Let's grow up for a second. Little black boy, now a grown man. And when you're grown, no one's helping you or lending hands. Just make a plan to be a man on your own. Lying trapped in the jungle, not afraid to make that home. And keep an eye out for hyenas on your path. The ones who don't support you, they just eat off you and laugh, right? Ironically, this is all a part of your math. A universal teaching to help you master your craft. My universal teaching just helped me master my wrath. I bottle it up, put it in this pen and this pad. The scientific methods discovered inside my lab. Be using rhyme and reason to pledge allegiance to black facts. It was true, I had to make a move. My homie stayed at home, I had no home to go back to. It was college or jail, factory or the sale. I hated bars, but using the rap, these stories I tell breasts. But I ain't hold up, and I ain't slow up, nah. Gut check from the world, but I ain't fold up, nah. Bee sting from my baby mother, I did it swole up. My daddy told me lead the world, and I'ma do it show up. I'ma get everything I seen. Young men have visions, old men have dreams. Young men walk tall, wise men build teams. Broke men see drought, rich men build streams. Press, just press.
Even when you can't see the light, just press
Hey.
forward.
Just press.
Press.
Knowing everything's alright, just press forward.
I like to thank y'all for sitting in. For sitting in on my dreams. Let's get in.
Just press.
You gon' make it there someday.
Fire, 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 fire.
Shut up in my bones.
Said it shut up in my bones, yeah.
And this fire, fire,
Fire. Said it won't leave me alone. How you feel, DJ?
Man, I'm feeling great, man.
What we doing?
We working and we winning.
So look, we're gonna get comfortable for a second. Hope y'all don't mind. How you feel, DJ?
Feeling great, man.
What we doing?
We working and winning.
Let's get it. Y'all, I hope that in your lifetime you get an opportunity to see what it feels like to know your mission and to walk in that. You know what I mean?
Saying, oh God,
It's not about how long you live, but about the quality of life you have. Do I? Let's get it. Hey, I'm Malcolm X and Martin Luther. Their visions before the shootings that collect the futures. Bob Marley, Fela Kuti, and Sam Cooke. Taking the play out of my ancestors' handbooks. But I ain't followed to a T, I deviated. I learned from black lives that I seen abbreviated. If a law allowed it to happen, then let it be. They died, but their lives still made me a better me. I went from home snatcher to throw rapping to black. A country boy who sold for college scholarships at 13. Saw Malcolm X and I tried to follow it. But it's hard when the consequences catch a hollow tip. I remember clean. Malcolm X said it to that unborn scene. Change coming in it was Sam Cooke was seen. The FBI cut him short, but we gon' finish things. We gon' finish things.
twisted the night away. Said I'm singing and I'm twisted. Twisted the night away.
Hey, say,
oh God,
oh God,
make my mission
make it clear, make it clear. Tell me where do I go from here?
Twisted the night
Now we on
away.
10. Hey, hey, hey. We gonna finish out the set today with we gonna finish it out with Dr. King left off. We talking about the money now. Economic opportunities for those who have been left out and looked over. We elevating the consciousness, you know what I mean? Hey, let's get it. Hey, mission set, don't censor me, this is lyrically artillery for what the mind and the spirit needs. Chicago in the 40s, this is that resurgence. Economics is turning black and coming back with urgency. I told my daughter, don't sit around on your dreams, nah. Life is a moment, it's shorter than what it seems, y'all. She turning 10, her conscience is growing wings, y'all. She making plans of her own, she running things. So please fall back with them small acts, my young wolves. Some for large packs and hard traps, and with one rule, to stay on 10 with it. To catch a kill, make it squeal, let your friends get it. If it's a meal, cut a deal, keep your wheels spinning. Consciously turn your hustle into real business. Spend your money with them people that's gonna spend with you. And spend your time with a queen that's gonna build with you. Catch kills with you. 10, we making the people conscious again. Wall Street revive, the black dollar we spend. Women are giving birth to the black goddess within. White folks admitting there's heaven in black skin. 10, we going to black doctors again. Question their education, black colleges we attend. Black lips, put collagen in your skin. 10, we making the people look like we know how to win now. We moving on 10 now. Business is popping up, we know where to spend now. See, I got some homeboys, they doing good biz now. I got me a black on watch on my wrist now. I got a clothing line, my stuff looking crisp now. I got some beard oil from a sister that's rich now. Got a black comic book, that be a hit now. See, I ain't like comic books, but I think they legit now. Say, if you put black on it, they put a tax on it. If I see black on it, I drop a bag on it. If it look quality, I don't look at the tag on it. I take a snapshot, I post put the gram on it. Let them go ham on it, even throw spam on it. Feel good to have your own stuff, oh man, don't it? I got a dream, I shut the jobs, put a plan on it. Get to your team, money that makes them put hands on it. Dadgummit, 10, we making the people conscious again. Wall Street revive, the black dollar we spend. Women are giving birth to the black goddess within. White folks admitting there's heaven in black skin. 10, we going to black doctors again. Question their education, black colleges we attend. Black lips, put collagen in your skin. 10, hey, so we doing our own thing. plotting our own schemes, celebrating the 10 and consciousness that it brings. The 10 times 10, 100 years from when we elevated the scene. That's 1919. Give my daughter the laws, know that she wanna ball. Got a few different things, I tell her to do them all. People would surely say, you crawl before you walk, but I correctly recall she walked, she never crawled. Keep her mother at heart, though we got a divorce. Divorce just end marriage, family should stay the course. Love is bigger than marriage, please don't sell it short. We are level as parents, we never settle in court. Black folks are winning for music and playing sports. Now that's just sports, we winning across the board. Told my daughter to look, Serena is still a force. Michelle got book sales, Shelly bells and falls. My Mona be on 10. We making the people conscious again. Wall Street revive the black dollar we spend. Women are giving birth to the black goddess within. White folks admitting there's heaven in black skin. Hey 10, we going to black doctors again. Question their education, black colleges we attend. Black lips are famous, put collagen in your skin. 10, we making the people conscious again. Hey 10, we making the people conscious again. Wall Street revive the black dollar we spend. Women are giving birth to the black goddess within. White folks admitting there's heaven in black skin. 10, we going to black doctors again. Question their education, black colleges we attend. Black lips are famous, put collagen in your skin. 10, we making the people conscious again. Hey 10, we making the people conscious again. Wall Street revive the black dollar we spend. Women are giving birth to the black goddess within. White folks admitting there's heaven in black skin. 10, we're going to black doctors again. Question their education, black colleges we attend. Black lips are famous, put collagen in your skin. 10, we making the people conscious again. Hey, hey, hey. Happy Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. From UCSI and DJ P-Knock. Shout out to the Washington Performing Arts. Peace.
Greetings. My name is Talvin Magruder, and I am the Chief Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer at General Motors. We are proud to say that our company has honored Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday since its first national observance in 1986. We honor the legacy of Dr. King throughout our organization. It is a legacy of hope, unity, democracy, and love, the four tenets he stood by throughout his journey as a civil rights leader. He believed in equity, equality, and inclusion, three principles that currently guide our journey at General Motors and ones that require constant and consistent effort. As we commemorate Dr. King, we are encouraged by the grit and determination we continue to see in communities around us, making a difference each and every day. We're sending you love, light, and good spirits as we reflect on a powerful legacy and the work ahead. Thank you.
Okay, listen. While Yeshua was performing, Mark, I went to Tidal, listen to this song, pull up all his songs for me. I loved it. And he's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity. So yes, you are indeed a brother of MLK. I mean, yes, blackologist, blacknificent. I'm just sitting here glowing and growing.
I mean, this event is amazing. It's something for everybody. Like you said, everybody's excellent. The messaging is excellent. And what we're celebrating is excellent. So I'm like you said earlier, I feel blessed to be associated with this great, great morning.
I mean, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. Why not? Shout out to everyone who's been a part thus far. So let's keep this party and this celebration going. From American Idol to the Broadway stage and in the classroom as a professor at Howard University, HU, you know. Let me tell you, our next guest is more than a singer. She is the voice. This soul, pop, dance, and electronica songstress has theatrical credits, including the Broadway cast of Rent, the national tour of Ain't Misbehavin', for which she earned a Grammy nomination. She continues to wow audiences with her unique and versatile talent, and we are so honored and excited to have her with us today. Village, ladies and gentlemen, Blacknificence, can we bring to the stage Miss Frenchie Davis? Yeah.
So some of you may remember me from a million years ago on American Idol, but more recently, only 500,000 years ago, I was on season 1 of The Voice. And one of my absolute favorite judges on the show and favorite musicians and songwriters was on there. And this is one of his songs, and I hope you enjoy it. So this next song is written by one of my all-time favorite singer-songwriters. Many would argue that a lot of his songs were the soundtrack for the civil rights movement, and I love this song, and I hope you love my rendition of it.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in and watch them roll away again. I'm gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Ooh, left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. I got nothing left to live for. Nothing's gonna come my way. I'm gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. It looks like nothing's changing. Everything remains the same. Hey, hey, hey. I can do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. Ooh, sitting here, resting my bones. The loneliness won't leave me alone. 2,000 miles I've roamed just to make this dock my home. I'm gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, I'm sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. Sit on the dock of the
Happy King Day. Music has always been a part of the movement, right? So I am so honored to be singing for you all. I wish we could have done this in person, but I hope you love this nonetheless. Oh, Cinnamon, where you gonna run to? Cinnamon, where you gonna run to?
She sold those new blue jeans. My sweetheart's a drunkard. He drinks down in New Orleans. Oh, the only thing a drunken man. There's a suitcase and a trunk. All that time is satisfied is that his old drum. I tell my baby sister, never do what I have done. Stay away from that house. Oh, they call it the rising sun. I'm going back to New Orleans. My race is almost won. Going back to spend my afternoon. Oh, na, 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 beneath the rising sun.
This song is by one of my favorite contemporary artists. She's so beautiful and so amazing, and I love this song.
Yellow diamonds in the light, and we're standing side by side as your shadow it crosses mine. What it takes to come alive. The way I'm feeling, I just
Wow.
You talk about a showstopper. Come on now.
I mean,
you got everything you needed on this program. Frenchie Davis. Oh my goodness. No words, right?
Just shut everything down. Looking as gorgeous as ever, and her voice is just intoxicating. And I got wrapped up in the words. I did a whole impromptu dance performance. Should have showed y'all. Did some interpretive dance for you.
Not interpretive dance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you again, what a joy to be a part of this great program. They thought about everything. A pleasure being a co-host this morning. Again, I can't think of a better place and a better place to be and a better place to pay tribute to Dr. King. Of course, poet, we have to thank the amazing Harry E. Johnson Sr., president of the Memorial Foundation, and his dynamic team. I mean, you know, they were not going to let nothing stop this. It might be a pandemic. We might have snow. We might have slush. Nothing was going to stop this celebration. Yeah. I love the vision. I love how they put it together. Of course, we got to thank our sponsors, Wells Fargo, Robinhood, GM, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Amazon, so many more. Everybody in the comments in the chat room. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Everybody who's watching this 2 days from now. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, 3 days from now, a year from now, I'm gonna pull from this just to re-energize. Man, thank you again for showing up and showing out. You came, we celebrated, we learned, and hopefully you are just as lifted and energized or re-energized as Mark and myself. To each speaker, the Mars Arts DC artists, Washington Performing Arts, the entire production team. Shout out to Melissa, who was clicking and moving and doing. Eric, for thinking of us. We thank you, thank you, thank you. Most of all, we thank you for celebrating Dr. King with us today. Dr. King's voice rang out with a call for us to work towards a better tomorrow. He challenged us to do for others. So take the time today, because it's a day on and every day, to serve your community and others. It's been a pleasure. Thanks again for watching. So shout out to Roderick Giles, Robert Person, Roz White, Dave Cole, Frenchie Davis, Yusha Assad, DJ P. Knock, Reverend Dr. Granger Browning Jr., Gigi Dixon, Dr. Willis Lonzer, Bishop William J. Barber, and of course, Harry Johnson, the Memorial Foundation. I mean, talk about the right place at the right time with the right energy. We love y'all. I can't wait to recap this tomorrow, Midday Shenanigans, 10 a.m. on PGC. I got to keep this vibe going. Got to keep going. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Mark, thank you for being a phenomenal co-host and bringing your Black boy joy to the screen.
and boy, thank you for being a ball of energy. You've always been that, and they're so proud to see you and see you on this amazing journey. And I can't wait for more, even more stuff like this. So again, everyone be safe. Thank you. And thank you for watching us today. And thank you for supporting this wonderful organization and what it stands for.
Continue blessings. Peace, y'all.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions had an echo in so much space. And then out there, without a care, yeah, I was out of touch. And it wasn't because I didn't know it now. I think I knew too much. That makes me crazy. That makes me crazy. That makes me crazy. And I hope that you were having the time of